Do you know what many women over 60 do in the evening without ever wondering if it's good or bad for their bodies? They sleep in their underwear because that's how it's supposed to be, because they've been doing it all their lives. But almost no one asks, what really happens if I take off my panties at night and just sleep naked under my pajamas or nightgown? What happens to your skin, your bladder, your intimate flora when at night you give them the freedom they don't have during the day? And why are more and more gynecologists advising to do exactly that, especially after age 60? Today, I want to gently but clearly explain what actually happens in the body of a mature woman when she sleeps without underwear. And I promise you, some of these things will surprise you, and maybe even change your mind. Let's start with something seemingly simple: the air. Its skin is a living organ. It breathes, regulates temperature, humidity, and protects against germs. If at night you confine your intimate area in synthetic fibers or tight underwear, you disrupt this self-regulation. Instead, a humid and warm environment is created, ideal for bacteria and fungi. Many women wonder why, from a certain age, they suffer more frequently from vaginal candidiasis, itching, or recurrent urinary infections. However, sometimes the cause is not in the medications or hormones, but simply in the wrong pajamas. Our skin, especially in the intimate area, changes with age. It becomes more sensitive, drier, and its blood circulation changes. The level of estrogen decreases, and with it, the mucous membrane of the vagina and external genital area also becomes thinner and more vulnerable. If, additionally, synthetic or tight underwear chafes, causes sweating, or retains moisture overnight, a small imbalance quickly develops, which can have serious consequences, because what cannot heal at night ignites during the day. It often manifests as a burning sensation, itching, or a dull pain when sitting down. Many women ignore these signals or think it's age. But that's not true. Often, a small step, like stopping wearing underwear, is enough to provide relief. Without underwear, your skin has the opportunity to stay dry. Natural ventilation prevents the spread of bacteria or fungi. The skin can breathe, heal, and regenerate overnight. This is also important for women prone to recurrent urinary infections. Studies show if the intimate area remains dry at night, the risk of cystitis decreases significantly. And one more thing happens when you sleep without underwear, something that cannot be measured immediately, but that many women report. They feel more free, more feminine, more in control of themselves. It is a silent act of self-care, a sign of confidence in one's body. And it is precisely this feeling, this "I can take good care of myself," that not only strengthens the immune system, but also the emotional connection with oneself. I know this may seem trivial, but especially for women who have spent decades caring for others, they often forget how therapeutic it can be to simply treat themselves well. Another important point concerns sleep itself. Many women over 60 report restless nights, frequent awakenings, hot flashes, or a feeling of suffocation. Indeed, tight clothing, including underwear, can disrupt the regulation of nighttime temperature. The body overheats more quickly, sweats more, and this disrupts deep sleep phases. Conversely, without underwear, excess heat can dissipate more easily, which is particularly beneficial during or after menopause, when sleep becomes calmer, deeper, and more restorative. And this affects almost everything: your concentration the next day, your mood, your digestion, and even your hormonal balance. Because healthy sleep promotes the production of melatonin and growth hormones, which are in turn important for cellular repair and the body's defenses. Furthermore, when we give the body more freedom during the night, the nerve pathways of the pelvic floor and lower back also respond more sensitively. Blood circulation improves, and tensions can be released more easily. Especially for women experiencing mild urinary leaks or pelvic floor weakness, this can have a positive effect. I want to emphasize at this point, this is not a rule that applies to everyone. Some women feel more comfortable wearing underwear, and that's perfectly acceptable. But if you are among those who frequently wake up with itching, burning, night sweats, or a feeling of discomfort in the stomach, then try it. 1 week, without panties, maybe even completely naked under the sheets. Many of my patients report that they no longer want to sleep differently, not because it's a trend, but because their bodies are finally receiving what they were missing so much: rest, freedom, air, and a little self-love that simply doesn't find its place under the fabric. You might be wondering, but what about hygiene? I often hear this concern. Many women believe that sleeping without underwear is not hygienic, especially at an older age. But the exact opposite is true if you consider a few simple things. Your skin needs air. What is not necessary is retained moisture. Cotton underwear can be breathable, but they remain a foreign body, especially at night, when you spend many hours in the same position. Sleeping directly in a fresh, clean pajama or nightshirt, preferably made of natural materials like cotton or linen, is often more hygienic than wearing underwear that causes chafing and heat buildup. Of course, your bed should also be clean, regularly washed sheets, ideally without harsh detergents or fabric softeners. All of this helps maintain the balance of your skin's natural flora. And what if by chance you lose a little urine during the night? It's also a topic that almost no one talks about. Many women use protections or even snug underwear at night, out of fear that something might happen. But here too, the principle applies. Sometimes less is more. Nowadays, there are special washable bed protections that are discreet but provide you with security. So, you can give your body more freedom without worry. I want you to become aware of this. Your body deserves to breathe freely, even at night. And it's not just about physical hygiene, but also emotional. Because the way we treat ourselves, especially in the silent moments before sleeping, influences our self-image. Sleeping without underwear can be a small act of confidence in oneself, in one's own maturity, in the knowledge I no longer need to prove anything to anyone. You have already accomplished so much, for others, for family, for work. Maybe it's time you pay a little more attention to your own body, even if it's just removing a piece of clothing you've never questioned. And you know what always touches me? When a patient softly says to me, "I tried, and I finally regained sleep all night." It seems so simple, but behind these words, there is so much. Because good sleep is not just rest. It is healing. It is regulation. It is our natural access to inner balance. And it often begins with seemingly smaller decisions, like the question, what can I allow my body during the night? Many women report that after a few days without underwear, they feel not only physically more comfortable, but also mentally calmer, less sensation of pressure, less feeling of having to function. It's as if the body can finally reconnect with itself, without any disruptive barriers. And yes, there is also the intimate aspect. Even if sexuality may no longer be a major topic, the feeling of femininity, inner warmth, and gentle perception remain. The genital area is a sensitive and worthy center of being a woman. If you can rest freely, without pressure, without embarrassment, it can also change your self-perception. More connection, more full attention. I firmly believe in this. Health does not start with pills or diagnoses. It begins with our daily decisions. How we sleep, what we eat, how we treat ourselves when no one is watching. And that is precisely why this topic is much more than just a gynecologist's advice. It is an invitation to get to know oneself again, beyond habits, conventions, or old beliefs. So, the next time you prepare your nightwear, don't just ask yourself, what looks tidy, but rather, what truly makes me feel good? Maybe it's time to trust your body a little more, and finally give your skin what it needs: space, air, and loving freedom. Let's talk about something that is often taboo as we age, but is even more important: intimate flora. Many women notice a change in their vaginal environment after menopause. Hormonal changes, particularly the decrease in estrogen levels, influence the pH value and the colonization by protective lactic acid bacteria. What many don't realize, nightwear that doesn't breathe or is too tight can further disturb this already fragile balance. Imagine your intimate flora as a small garden. It needs air, balanced humidity, no heat buildup, and much less constant friction or confinement. When you wear underwear at night, a microclimate often forms, acting like a greenhouse for bacteria or fungi. The risk of infections increases, And this doesn't have to happen. Sleeping without underwear can be a real turning point here. Not as a miracle cure, but as a simple and effective measure to support your natural protective layer. Especially women who regularly struggle with vaginal dryness, irritations, or unpleasant odors often see a noticeable benefit. And it goes even further. Your skin, including in the intimate area, is part of your immune system. If it is irritated, moist, or injured, it weakens your defenses. If it is free, dry, and not overloaded, it strengthens your natural barrier against pathogens. A small gesture like sleeping without underwear can therefore have long-term effects, also for your overall health. I know the subject may seem strange, maybe even uncomfortable. But the more we age, the more we have the right, no, the obligation, to be honest with ourselves. And to ask, what truly makes me feel good? Not what advertising says, not what I've done my whole life, but yes, what my body needs today, in this new and precious stage of life. What I've observed in recent years is something wonderful. Women who, as they age, become gentler with themselves, who stop controlling their bodies and start feeling them. And often, this change doesn't begin with a big event, but with a small decision. One of these decisions could be, tonight, I sleep without underwear. It may seem trivial, doesn't it? But that's exactly where the strength lies. Because when we allow ourselves to question things, it not only changes our habits, but also our relationship with ourselves. Many women tell me after some time, I didn't realize how liberating it could be. I always thought I had to wrap myself up, cover myself, protect myself, but my body was simply tired of being constantly adjusted. Especially for women over 60 who have spent their lives thinking about others, partner, children, duties, it can be a profound inner permission to free oneself at night, freed from expectations, norms, standards, simply being a woman. Skin on fabric, skin on air, skin on life. And another point I don't want to forget to mention, the bladder. As we age, the muscles around the urinary tract change. If at night, tight underwear puts pressure on the lower abdomen or the urethra, it can worsen an overactive bladder. Without underwear, on the contrary, the abdominal area has more space to relax. Many women report that they need to wake up less often to go to the bathroom, or that they can continue sleeping more peacefully. Is this a guarantee? Number everybody is different, but it is a sign. When we give space to our body, it often responds with relief, and sometimes this is precisely the first step toward a better sense of well-being, not imposed from the outside, but felt from within. You might now be wondering, why has no one ever explained this to me like that? And that is exactly the heart of the problem. In our culture, women's intimate health is often addressed only in the context of problems, never in terms of prevention, well-being, or self-care. Yet we would all benefit from doing so, because the older we get, the more our body becomes precious, precisely because it has already accomplished so much. And it deserves to be treated with dignity and love. Also, or especially at night, when no one is watching. I remember a woman during my consultation, in her 60s, very neat, very polite. She whispered, "All my life I was ashamed to show my body, even to myself." And when she slept for the first time without panties, she felt for the first time, here is my body, and it can breathe, it can stretch, it can be gentle. Maybe you feel the same way. Maybe you've learned that you need to stay covered, that it's indecent to sleep without anything underneath. But this is a myth, born from old moral notions, not medical knowledge. What research shows today is clear. Natural ventilation, less friction, and more skin contact with the air not only improve intimate health, but also promote a better body image. It is precisely this feeling that we need in middle age. When the body changes, when the skin and tissues feel different, it is even more important to cultivate a relationship with one's own body. A loving, understanding, and attentive relationship. Sleeping without underwear is not an act of daring. It is a silent dialogue with oneself. A decision that says, I take care of myself. I pay attention. I give my body what it truly needs. not what I have demanded of it for decades. And perhaps this is the most beautiful form of intimate care that exists. Another positive effect that many women report concerns their skin, not only in the intimate area but also on the thighs, in the lower back, on the stomach, where the elastic bands cut, where the seams press, or where sweat accumulates at night. Small irritations, red spots, or even eczema appear. Sleeping without underwear allows the skin not only to breathe, but also to have space. It can stretch, relax, and regenerate better during the night. Especially women with sensitive skin, suffering from neurodermatitis or prone to fungal infections, experience quick improvement. The body reacts to this new state with relief. It's a bit like finally taking off shoes that never quite fit after years. And finally, but not least, it also affects self-image. Because every night we sleep without shame is a night we signal to ourselves, I can show myself. I have nothing to hide, not even from myself. It's not vanity, it's self-acceptance. And this is just as important when aging as it is when young. I would like to encourage you to no longer see your body simply as a bearer of functions, but as a living part of your identity. When in the evening, unconsciously, we pull up our little panties because they are tight, or when we wake up because something is pressing on us, it's not a trivial side effect, it's a sign. A sign that the body finally wishes to free itself. Acronym. That's precisely where the greatest gift lies, that with small changes, we can achieve a big effect. Not through medications or diets, but by simply returning to what is natural. Our skin, our breathing, our sleep rhythm, all of us thank them when we give them space. Free, without fabric, without constraint, without fear. So tonight, if you go to your room and as usual take your underwear out of the drawer, pause for a moment. Feel inside yourself. Do you really feel good? Or is it just a habit? Maybe it's the right time to allow your body something new, or better, something fundamental. To sleep naked, without constraint, without limits. Not as an experiment, but as an act of care. Because what we do at night influences much more than sleep. It affects our skin health, our intimate flora, our hormonal balance, our self-image, and our inner balance. And all of this deserves attention. Not because something is wrong, but because everything would be fine if we simply allowed it. I hope I haven't just shared knowledge with you today, but also given you courage. The courage to find yourself. At the quietest moment of the day, when everything is calm and you are alone with yourself. Perhaps it is precisely there that the deepest healing resides. Let's talk more openly about topics that affect so many women, but that almost no one dares to say out loud. If you know someone who frequently complains about discomfort down there, share this video. Maybe it's exactly the push they need. And if you felt that these words touched something in you, then do something for yourself now. Subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications. Because here, we speak openly, calmly, and honestly about topics that would otherwise remain in the shadows. About women's health, self-esteem, and new paths in old age. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to me. And now, I'm interested in your opinion. Have you ever slept without clothes? Or are you thinking about it for the first time? Write in the comments. I read and I respond with pleasure. Take care of yourself. See you next time. Your Luca.